So while we're talking about ADUs in the state of California, it's important to note that there's state jurisdiction and state laws that say yes, homeowners can have more than one ADU and in some cases up to 4 accessory dwelling units on their properties. But there's also local zoning codes, jurisdiction, governments, and what they have to say about the issue, and they're not always the same. One great example would be movable tiny homes or tiny homes on wheels. While they're very popular, and believe it or not, Fresno was the very first city, the very first area to actually consider and classify ADUs and tiny homes in the same sentence. So we're a little bit famous for that, but if you take a look at our neighbor Clovis at this point in time, they do not recognize a tiny home on wheels as an ADU. So you can have different city and county governments that truly don't agree on things, or they have all different rules and fees charged and whatnot. So I would say that it's important to note that while tiny homes, prefab homes and all of that are not the norm right now, they're gaining in popularity. Let's talk about the clarification too as far as types of homes that are purchased. So there's a stick built, there's prefab, there's manufactured, there's the tiny home on wheels, and those, some of them can be built by hand, others are built in factories. So there's a lot that goes on when it comes to coding, compliance, actually having things pass different ordinances and things. So there's a lot to know and understand in this arena, but realistically when it comes to the homeowner, I think basically all you want to know is what you can do, how long is it going to take, what's it going to cost, and those are all very important considerations. When it comes to timelines, permits, code compliance, reviews, all of those items can take considerable time. Now there are different jurisdictions and different counties and city governments that are actually taking great steps to speed those processes up. The city of San Jose is one city that has done an excellent job of pulling all the parts and pieces together, trying to make them way easier for homeowners to first of all understand, and then they've hired an advocate that actually is on staff and starts the process, takes them all the way through the end. On top of that, they have literally a one-day approval process. Once the check boxes are all marked on the paperwork being in order and what they need, they have a day that they come, and right there their plans or whatnot are reviewed and they're given their permits. So it's very forward thinking, and I'm hoping that we'll see more and more areas do the very same thing. When it comes to cost, very difficult to figure out the cost as far as stick built goes because there's a lot of considerations. People that do a good job of building ADUs are much better to guess, but we've got a lot of factors that are shifting right now, and then timelines are very lengthy. So if you're going to have an ADU built from the ground up, it's going to be a year to a year and a half long process. But if you're going to buy something maybe prefab, tiny home on wheels, if they're allowed, getting the permit and the foundation portion of that is much quicker because they're going to drop in all the rest of the parts and pieces and put them together.